Open the gate. We are heading into the valley.
So yeah, I'll apologize ahead of time for any of the stuttering that you'll probably be seeing. I've mentioned this before. When games that I play on my current machine have outdoor environments like this with trees and grass and such, it just seems to cause a performance drop in terms of frames and such. As I've said this before, like, from what I understand, my graphics card isn't bad. It's decent, but apparently, now I don't even know if that's actually the problem or the issue, or what's causing it. I really don't know. I'm looking to eventually get an upgrade one to hopefully fix that. I've messed with the settings to try and let the game still look decent while also trying to change things, because you can even see at times, like, the fight here actually looks kind of decent, but you'll also notice at times it will just kind of like dip in terms of, like, it'll slow down because the frame rate drops. I think well, maybe this doesn't. I know games like Doom have like one of those things where you can actually look at the performance of your machine while it's running something, and this game does have a benchmark, but like even my the GeForce Experience thing will still recommend I play this on like very high settings. So even though it's recommending that I can play this game on very high settings, it will also still have noticeable performance drops. Now, this also could be a Frostbite engine issue, but like I've said, this is not just a Frostbite engine game issue that I'm having. So I've also messed around with the controls for certain things. For example, you know the search radius function that's in this game? Oh.
The pulses are coming faster now.
So this is going to be a little jarring for you guys.
The more rifts appear, the more demons we face.
How did I survive the blast?
They said you stepped out of a rift, then fell unconscious. They say a woman was in the rift behind you. No one knows who she was. Everything farther in the valley was laid waste, including the Temple of Sacred Ashes. I suppose you'll see soon enough.
So this is an interesting issue I'm having with this mod. It will show in cutscenes, but it won't show in gameplay. Just like this open world gameplay. You'll also notice some of the grass is popping up. That's because that's part of the messed settings I have where I've tried to turn a lot of that stuff down just to help kind of increase the performance of the game. Like, I've said this before, I don't mind turning graphics down to get a higher frame rate. Like, a much smoother frame rate and performance is more important to me than how good the game looks. This is going to be funny. You'll see her with this hair in cutscenes, but then you'll see it gone in gameplay. That's a little weird.
Stay behind me!
Not really sure what's causing that, but then again, usually other mods will conflict with each other. And the difficulty is trying to figure out which is the ones that's conflicting and causing it. But oh well. So you'll notice I already have abilities I should not have.
It's over.
Drop your weapon. Now!
So that's kind of part of the mod I have that, with the abilities and such. It's already given me abilities I should not get until much later in the game. Nothing I can really do about that, other than get rid of the mod. So, one of the things I've always loved about Inquisition are these unique dialogue choices that you only get depending on either what your class is or what your race is. And this is one of those where it's unique to a mage. You know, that I can say, look, I don't need a staff, and you know that.
Do you really think I need a staff to be dangerous?
Is that supposed to reassure me?
I haven't used my magic on you yet.
You're right. You don't need a staff, but you should have one. I cannot protect you. Your life is threatened enough as it is. Take these potions. Maker knows what we will face.
Can I just say, I hate the change they made in this game
Or fighting.
to
We are
healing.
on our own for now.
This potion, this health potion thing they changed here, I hate this. I'm sorry, I do. I much rather prefer the way it was, where if you were playing a mage, you could spec into a healing spec. You could do that in Origins if you were playing a mage. That's what Wynn could do, and that's what Vengeance could do in Dragon Age 2, or Hawk if you were playing a mage. You could play the Spirit Healer spec. I liked that. They got rid of that, and they instead did this healing potion thing. And I don't know if I've ever found confirmation on this before. I don't know if this is true or not, but my speculation on this would be because this game had multiplayer included. And one of the things I've noticed with the key bindings in this is that it seems to have things bound a certain way because of multiplayer. This was not the case only with Inquisition. This also became the case with Andromeda, where things could have been set up to allow you to, say, have hotkeys like the ones you see on the screen there, except the way that they were bound was for multiplayer things that would not apply in single player. And I feel like this health potion thing may have been a way to, I don't know, deal with that in multiplayer possibly, but I'm not really sure. I just have a sneaking suspicion, and that's why they would have made a change like that, because otherwise, I don't know anybody that's ever said that they actually are in favor of this system compared to the other healing system that we had in the previous two games. It just confuses me. I don't think it's as good or interesting, and I preferred it the way it was, but whatever. So you'll notice something else. I've rebound the search function in this game because it used to be, you remember how in 2 I was running around holding down the tab button the whole time so I could look at everything as well as Origins? I was just holding it down like this and just running around, just looking around for anything that was highlighted. They got rid of that and instead did this. This kind of radar system that we have here. It was bound to V. And I just thought that was so strange that I had to move down to press V here compared to just having it on tab. Now, the reason it wasn't on tab before, if you're wondering why did they take it off tab, it's because it was bound to something else that's used in multiplayer. Again, they had controls set up that was supposed to be for both modes, instead of controls just for single player and controls just for multiplayer. I don't know why that wasn't something they could do, but whatever. I switched it back to something that to me makes more sense. This is part of another mod where you find much better starting gear on this guy right here compared to waiting until later, in case you want to get off to a decent start. It's kind of like another mod I found for Skyrim, where one of the first, you find this corpse near the first town in the game, and he has like insane overpowered gear on it, so that way right from the beginning of the game, oh, okay, now I've got super powerful gear, I'm good to go. I wouldn't say this stuff is incredibly super powerful because I'll be able to actually craft even stronger stuff later, but it's like, it's decent for now anyway. I'm going to hold off on giving that to her because it's going to cause some issues in cutscenes where we can't even see certain things because her shield will be in the way. Doesn't even have a single handed weapon for her. Oh well. But you can also see one of the mods I got, which was increasing the range on this, because there's in the vanilla game, it was very, very short, which was kind of annoying. Ah, yes, gathering resources. Yes, one of the reasons why I was reluctant to replay this game over and over in multiple characters. Because I'm sorry, it became very boring and tedious.
Flank them, we may gain the advantage. Die!
So I'm going to go ahead and actually, hold on. Actually, I can't do that yet. Can I do it now? No. So at the moment I have one of the abilities from Knight Enchanter spec, which is this. One of those very close range abilities that had a lot of people saying that they thought this spec was really, really strong for mages in this game. And then there's this other ability here, which I think was part of the spec in 2, where it was like, hey, you can like lift up ground from the earth and then do this. BAM!
It attacks from a distance.
I'll talk more about this when we actually unlock the character abilities and I can actually show you the specs and such. But gameplay-wise, I really enjoy like each of the different specs that Mage has in this game. Like, I had fun with the Rogue when we played as Thorix in this game, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it was just like, it was fun, but it wasn't like entirely enjoyable. There were some things I was like, I wish it was better like this. And unfortunately, I think the Warrior is probably the least fun it's been in this series, in this game. But maybe I was playing it differently or didn't play it the right way. But I don't know. I think maybe it was a little better than how it was in Origins. Like, at least in Dragon Age 2, it was decently fun, but, you know, it was also kind of like at times like, oh, I wish I could do a little bit more. But here as a mage, it's just, for me, it's just still very fun. Like, I personally think mage is arguably the most fun class in all 3 games. Because there's a variety of different things that you can do with this class. Now, it used to be you could spec into a healing spec. As I said before, that is no longer the case when it comes to this class in Inquisition. But what they have instead are multiple trees that allow you to do, basically, it's kind of like how in WoW, as a mage, you can spec into either fire, cold, or in WoW's case, arcane. But here, it's fire, cold, and lightning. Which to me makes sense that they would tap into that kind of a skill tree as a mage.
You can hear the fighting.
Now, we'll also, of course, discover other specs later on that allow us to do other things. Obviously, Blood Mage has been a thing since Origins, but here we're going to be able to discover some other different kinds of specs and such. Hey, Varric.
Quickly, before more come through!
Hi, Solus.
What did you do?
I did nothing. The credit is yours.
I closed that thing? How?
Whatever magic opened the breach in the sky also placed that mark upon your hand. I theorized the mark might be able to close the rifts that have opened in the breach's wake. And it seems I was correct.
Meaning it could also close the breach itself.
Possibly. It seems you hold the key to our salvation.
Good to know. Here I thought we'd be ass-deep in demons forever. Varric Tethras, rogue, storyteller, and occasionally unwelcome tag-along.
Are you with the Chantry, or...
Was that a serious question?
Technically, I'm a prisoner, just like you.
I brought you here to tell your story to the Divine. Clearly, that is no longer necessary.
Yet, here I am. Lucky for you, considering current events.
That's a nice crossbow you have there.
Ah, isn't she? Bianca and I have been through a lot together.
You named your crossbow Bianca.
Of course. And she'll be great company in the valley.
Absolutely not. Your help is appreciated, Varric, but...
Have you been in the valley lately, Seeker? Your soldiers aren't in control anymore. You need me.
Ugh.
My name is Solus, if there are to be introductions. I am pleased to see you still live.
He means I kept that mark from killing you while you slept.
You seem to know a great deal about it all.
Like you, Solus is an apostate.
Technically, all mages are now apostates, Cassandra. My travels have allowed me to learn much of the Fade, far beyond the experience of any Circle mage. I came to offer whatever help I can give with the breach. If it is not closed, we are all doomed regardless of origin.
And what will you do once this is over?
One hopes those in power will remember who helped, and who did not. Cassandra, you should know, the magic involved here is unlike any I have seen. Your prisoner is a mage, but I find it difficult to imagine any mage having such power.
Understood. We must get to the forward camp quickly.
Well, Bianca's excited.
This way, down the bank. The road ahead is blocked.
We must move quickly.
Solus. Cassandra, I understand our first order of business must be to investigate this bizarre breach in the sky and protect people from the demons descending, while my search continues. Oh, I wish to draw your attention to... I thought this was Solus talking. I wish to draw your attention to a new arrival at our camp, an elven apostate calling himself Solus. Solus entered the camp voluntarily, surrendering his staff to Chantry forces without protest. He is not Dalish and says that he has never been part of the Circle, claiming instead to have studied magic peacefully on his own, particularly magic tied to the Fade. Yeah, I wonder why. While I suspect you will be reluctant to accept the help of an apostate, Solus did come to us freely. Witnesses saw him in a nearby village at the time of the blast, so he was likely not responsible for what happened at the Conclave. However, he has described the effects of the breach in enough detail to convince me that he knows more about the Fade than anyone else present. Solus has requested permission to study the lone survivor in one of the smaller rifts, in hopes of finding a way to seal the breach. He has correctly guessed that it is growing and believes that it will destroy the entire world unless we find a way to stop it. Unless you object, I will allow him his studies under proper observation, of course. Oh, it's Leliana saying this. It's probably for the better. I'm not sure how well I can do Leliana's voice. And as for Varric... There's power in stories. That's all history is. The best tales. The ones that last. Might as well be mine. Varric Tethras of the Dwarven Merchants Guild of Kirkwall is famous, or infamous, for two things. His books, and his association with the Champion of Kirkwall. After the Templars and Circles broke away from the Chantry, Divine Justinia V sent her agents to Kirkwall, where the roots of the war began. In search of answers, the Champion had long since disappeared, but Varric had written a book on his friend's involvement in the destruction of the Kirkwall Chantry, and the left and right hands of the Divine located him with surprising ease. They captured and interrogated him. They brought him to the Conclave to get his testimony to the Divine in person, but fate decreed that he would never meet her. Speaking of Cassandra, I am fully aware... Oh, hold on. Oh. I am fully aware... Lord Seeker Lucius, I am fully aware of the intent behind your predecessor's declaration. Lord Seeker Lambert pried the Templars away from the Chantry control and led them into an assault upon all mages for reasons you both find justified. I, however, am uncertain when the Seekers of Truth went from guarding against injustice to perpetrating it. If you truly believe that is not the case, I suggest you look out a window at the chaos this war has caused and ask yourself if Thedas will recover even if you are victorious. I remain at Divine Justinia's right hand, and you will stay there even if you brand me traitor. And will stay there even if you brand me traitor. I am sorry, but there is too much at stake to swerve from the path we willingly followed at the Chantry's foundation. And as for Divine Justinia herself... Formerly the revered mother Dorothea of Orlais, Divine Justinia V rose to power after the death of Divine Beatrix III in the year 934 of the Dragon Age. Little is known of Dorothea's background before she joined the Chantry as an initiate, but she proved to be a liberal and daring thinker, willing to take a former bard and lay sister, Leliana, as a close advisor. A headstrong devotion to her own agenda and rumored support of the Mage Rebellion earned her no small dislike from the powerful priests long used to controlling access to the divine. In the year 940 of the Dragon Age, Divine Justinia called a summit, intending to negotiate a truce between the Mage Rebellion and the Templars, splintered from the Chantry. The Divine Conclave was held at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, the most holy place in Thedas. Before a resolution could be reached, a cataclysmic explosion destroyed the Conclave, consumed the temple, rent the sky, and shattered the world's hopes for peace. Divine Justinia V perished in the Temple of Sacred Ashes. The Chantry flounders, leaderless in the wake of her death, and its fate grows increasingly uncertain. If order is not restored to Thedas, Justinia V might be remembered as the Chantry's final divine. Dun dun dun! So, I remember when I was first playing this, and then this happened. And I was like, wait, what? Oh my gosh, I can jump! The first time ever in a Dragon Age game that we can actually jump. And I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, we can finally jump in this game! It's a miracle! It was just so odd that for the longest time we couldn't jump, and now all of a sudden we were finally able to jump, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we can finally do something in, in this game like that. It's just jarring where usually in other games you can definitely do some things, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope.
Glad you brought me now, Seeker.
No, I don't care about the tactical camera. I'm sorry, I never used the tactical camera in this. I never really cared about that. Like, I barely ever used it in any Dragon Age game, honestly. Like, the only time I've ever used it was in Origins, where at times it was like the camera would pause, and I'm like, okay, you go do this, you go do this. It was fine there. But I'm just like, when it comes to using it here. I really need to stop going to get the crafting stuff. Let's just say that one of the mods I put in is going to allow me to just simply, one, not only get a ton of gold, like more gold than I'm probably going to ever need in this game, but two, a shop that allows me to basically get as much of basically anything I want. Like, how do you deal with the tediousness of having to run around collecting crafting materials? You add in a shop that allows you to buy those materials, like, an infinite amount, just simply limited by the amount of gold you have. Problem solved. Now I can just be able to go ahead and get as many crafting resources I want, and be able to increase the amount of XP to level, so I'm not hindered by that when it comes to experiencing the game and the story, and all of a sudden the game is less grindy and more enjoyable for multiple runs on multiple characters. Like, I'm trying to also help distinguish that I'm saying that this is for the case of playing through this game multiple times on multiple characters. I'm not talking about in terms of grind itself, because I know some people do get kind of touchy about that subject, that love the grind. I'm not saying it's bad on its own in general. What I'm saying is that doing it on multiple characters is annoying, a nuisance, and a chore.
We had Kunari and Kirkwall. A whole boatload of them. They were your typical cheerless sort, then they tried to take over the city and kill everyone. But I'm guessing you don't actually follow the Qun, do you? You're Talvishoth.
That's an excellent guess.
Well, you haven't recited a single quote from the Prophet Kosloon yet. So unless you're trying to stay on the Seeker's good side, I'd say that's pretty telling.
Like I said, we'll actually hear more about her backstory when she talks to some of the other characters in Haven. I'm pretty sure in my test run that I did for this, on this this type of character, that it comes up when we are, of course, talking with Iron Bull. Because as you can imagine, playing a Tal Vashoth and then talking with Iron Bull has some very interesting and unique dialogue. Because you are Tal Vashoth, and he is a Ben Hasrath.
So, are you innocent?
I don't remember what happened.
That'll get you every time. Should have spun a story.
That's what you would have done.
It's more believable and less prone to result in premature execution.
It's like, gosh, it reminds me of that joke from Naked Gun. Hey, it's the evidence from that case. He was innocent. Frank, he went to the chair 2 years ago. Oh well. I like that I can just hold down the R button and it'll just auto-target the next enemy.
She's resourceful, Seeker.
We will see for ourselves at the forward camp. We're almost there.
Another rift!
We must seal it! Quickly!
They keep coming! Help us!
Hurry! Use the mark!
The rift is gone. Open the gate.
So yeah, you're noticing I'm probably getting a lot more XP than usual. Like I said, I had some modifiers in here for this. So as I was saying, when it comes to the mage class, they got away with healing. Instead, they added this. So this is the spirit tree. And this is essentially what replaces that. So you have a barrier. You have this other thing called Guardian Spirit, a peaceful aura, which is supposed to kind of like do some, I guess, damage mitigation. Dispel, a rejuvenating barrier. Strength of Spirits, Mind Blast, and then Revive. You actually do have a Revive here. But again, you don't have an actual heal because of the whole healing potions thing here. So as I've said, like, I like the different specs here. Like, I've gotten to experiment with them, not necessarily on mage characters, but like, I should say, let me phrase that, on my own created mage characters, but rather on companions that you have in the game. Like, Vivienne has the Winter Tree, Dorian has the Inferno Tree. Nobody really has the Storm Tree. Now, Solus has the Spirit Tree. So then I was like, okay, let me play as a Storm Mage on my own character so I can try that out. And like I said, I enjoy all the different specs here. Now, here are the other ones that you can get later on in the game through unlocking. Obviously, it's here because of the mod, though I'm not necessarily wanting to actually do that. But there's Knight Enchanter, Rift Mage, which is what that ability there is from, and the Necromancer, which is something you get from Dorian. Here's the Inquisitor tree. You'll notice it has extra stuff here. That's another mod that basically made where it was only those two boring things there, including that one ability, and actually added more stuff to the idea of let your Inquisitor with this mark have some actual really cool stuff. You know, it's like, developers, it's okay to give the players cool stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to let us have that. I'm just saying. Alright. I'll try not to use the Knight Enchanter one,
We're clear for the moment.
since obviously I shouldn't have those abilities.
Whatever that thing on your hand is, it's useful.
Yeah, that's how you refill potions, that supply cache. Boring.
Enough trouble without resorting to this exercise in futility.
Ah, Here they come.
You made it. Chancellor Roderick, this is...
I know who she is. As Grand Chancellor of the Chantry, I hereby order you to take this criminal to Val Royeaux to face execution.
Order me? You are a glorified clerk, a bureaucrat.
And you are a thug, but a thug who supposedly serves the Chantry.
We serve the most holy, Chancellor. As you well know.
Justinia is dead! We must elect a replacement and obey her orders on the matter.
Well, I'll talk more about Roderick later on, but let's just say that while at first I hated this guy, later on I was like, actually, you know what? He's not so bad. Like, he's really not, honestly. He comes across really horrible here because, well, you'll notice he's emphasizing that they have to obey the Chantry and whoever they elect as the next one. Liliana makes a point that they serve Justinia. Cassandra also makes a point of that as well. He doesn't care. And he has a problem with that because he doesn't want them to serve Justinia or be loyal to Justinia. He wants them to be loyal to the Chantry, the organization that he's a part of. He's like, no. You are loyal to the Chantry, therefore you have to do what I tell you to do. But they're like, no, we were loyal to Justinia. We were her hands, not yours, and not the Chantry's. There's a difference. You can see he's trying to really throw that authority around. And of course, he immediately calls for us to get executed. What was it that Varric just said a moment ago? About premature execution?
So none of you are actually in charge here.
You killed everyone who was in charge! Call a retreat, Seeker. Our position here is hopeless.
We can stop this before it's too late.
How? You won't survive long enough to reach the temple, even with all your soldiers.
We must get to the temple. It's the quickest route.
But not the safest. Our forces can charge as a distraction while we go through the mountains.
We lost contact with an entire squad on that path. It's too risky.
Listen to me. Abandon this now, before more lives are lost.
How do you think we should proceed?
Now you're asking me what I think.
You have the mark?
And you are the one we must keep alive. Since we cannot agree on our own.
So the first time we did this playthrough, we took the mountain path to kind of like be safe. However, this time we're going to go ahead and just charge ahead. Plus, it'll give us a chance to meet Cullen early.
I say we charge. I won't survive long enough for your trial. Whatever happens, happens now.
Liliana, bring everyone left in the valley. Everyone.
On your head be the consequences, Seeker.
There are some who claim men have no place in the Chantry, beyond the lowest rank of scholarly brothers and those who take their place amongst the Templars. It is not true. This is an organization spanning 7 nations, from the smallest village Chantry to the Grand Cathedral in Val Royeaux. It takes more than sermons to keep it alive. There is an invisible army at work, ensuring meals are delivered, repairs are made, and faithful attended to, and much of it done by Chantry brothers like myself. So this is an excerpt from a letter by Roderick. The position of High Chancellor places a man beside the most holy. I control who is permitted audience, handle her correspondence, deliver her word to Thetis, and serve as her advisor on matters which may be mundane, but cannot be disregarded. I have influence. If I have influence, let it be said it is something that I use sparingly, if at all. This is a task to which I devote myself with solemnity. That word. I and my fellows bear a burden so that others are free to guide the spirits of Thetis unencumbered. By the way, this game has a quick save. I'm only pointing that out because this game came out a few years before Andromeda did. And remember, Andromeda doesn't have a quick save. Sorry, I'm never letting that go.
Be wary. Another fade rift.
How many rifts are there?
We must seal it if we are to get past!
Quickly then!
Hey, Cullen.
Sealed, as before. You are becoming quite proficient at this.
Let's hope it works on the big one.
Lady Cassandra, you managed to close the rift. Well done.
Do not congratulate me, Commander. This is the prisoner's doing.
Is it? I hope they're right about you. We've lost a lot of people getting you here.
You're not the only one hoping that.
We'll see soon enough, won't we? The way to the temple should be clear. Liliana will try to meet you there.
Then we'd best move quickly. Give us time, Commander.
Make her watch over you, for all our sakes.
So in that moment, she noticed Cullen. She went, "Oh my." It always looks funny and awkward when they hold their weapon like that in a cutscene.
Sacred ashes.
What's left of it?
That is where you walked out of the Fade, and our soldiers found you. They say a woman was in the rift behind you. No one knows who she was.
But yeah, as I was saying before about how our character was raised, she wasn't just raised, like, she didn't just grow up amongst other Tal Bashoth. She grew up amongst a variety of different people, including humans. So, it's not like she never got, she was used to the idea of finding some humans attractive, is what I'm kind of getting at here. That it's not just very uncommon for, say, this Tal Bashoth to find a human attractive. So, as opposed to only other Kunari. So, leading up into what we're going to be seeing later, because that's why I got the mod specifically for this reason, she noticed Cullen there and she went, oh, well, hello there. And he didn't catch on at first, but the way this romance goes, he will later. By the way, I believe that's the pathway we would come from if we took the other path. Oh gosh, T-pose! T-posing! T-posing cutscene! Did I mention that sometimes mods can cause the game to be a little buggy?
Breach is a long
You're here. Thank the Maker.
Liliana, have your men take up positions around the temple. This is your chance to end this. Are you ready?
I'll try. But I don't know if I can reach that, much less close it.
No. This rift was the first, and it is the key. Seal it, and perhaps we seal the breach.
Then let's find a way down. And be careful.
Now is the hour of our victory. Bring forth the sacrifice.
What are we hearing?
At a guess, the person who created the breach.
You would know, wouldn't you, Solus? Oh, hey, red lyrium.
You know this stuff is red lyrium, Seeker.
I see it, Varric.
But what's it doing here?
Magic could have drawn on lyrium beneath the temple, corrupted it.
It's evil. Whatever you do, don't touch it.
Keep the sacrifice still.
Someone help me! That is Divine Justinia's voice.
Someone help me!
What's going on here?
That was your voice. Most Holy called out to you, but...
What's going on here?
Run while you can! Want them!
We have an intruder. Slay the Canary.
You were there! Who attacked? And the Divine, is she... Was this vision true? What are we seeing?
I don't remember.
Echoes of what happened here. The Fade bleeds into this place. This rift is not sealed, but it is closed, albeit temporarily. I believe that with the mark, the rift can be opened, and then sealed properly and safely. However, opening the rift will likely attract attention from the other side.
That means demons! Stand ready!
Hello, Pride?
Now!
Pride looks really cool in this game, I should say.
We must strip its defenses, wear it down. More coming through the rift.
Sometimes I actually forget that mana is actually a thing for mages in this game. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I have mana.
Now! Seal the rift! Do it!
And then we all died. The end.
Oh. I didn't know you were awake, I swear.
Why are you frightened? What happened?
That's wrong, isn't it? I said the wrong thing.
I don't think so.
I beg your forgiveness and your blessing. I am but a humble servant. You are back in Haven, my lady. They say you saved us. The breach stopped growing, just like the mark on your hand. It's all anyone has talked about for the last 3 days.
So you're saying they're happy with me?
I'm only saying what I heard. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm certain Lady Cassandra would want to know you've wakened. She said, at once.
And where is she?
In the Chantry, with the Lord Chancellor. At once, she said.
Just a random box of elf fruit right there. Get some cool stuff right there. Patient observations. Vain hope. Someone better at this than me takes over before the survivor expires. Notes in case. Day 1. Clammy, shallow breathing, pulse over fast, not responsive, pupils dilated. Mage says her scarring mark is thrumming with unknown magic. Wish we could station a Templar in here just in case. Well, I guess we'll step outside and find out what's going on when we return. Stay tuned.